How's it going, everybody? An intimate session, shall we call it. I hope you're having a great day. There's been, what I would say, quite high energy talks so far today. Well, we're going to calm things down a little bit now and talk about good old-fashioned B2B success story. My name is Tadhg Bowe. Tadhg's good old-fashioned Irish name. If you're struggling to pronounce it, yeah, it's pronounced nothing like how it's spelt, but think of tiger without the "r", and you've got Tadhg. So there you go. And all my talks in recent times are dedicated to my beloved four-legged friend. His name is Wilson, and the most compassionate, loving, caring four-legged animal you could ever have. I do miss him. And I also miss my children, okay? I just want to make that clear. Okay, so what am I? I used to be a full-stack Magento developer. I lost all my hair. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to become a solution specialist. I currently work for Monsoon Consulting, where I kind of head up the consulting team. And one of my roles, for example, is to lead a lot of discoveries. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But who are we here to talk about today? We're here to talk about a company called Punch Pubs & Co., based in the UK. It is a B2B success story, a Magento 1 to Magento 2 migration. Who is Punch Pubs? Okay, so Punch Pubs, founded in 1997, used to be called Punch Taverns, obviously based in the UK. They own approximately 1,300 pubs. I think it's a little bit more than that now. And they have some different business models. So it's quite complex how the business is set up. But their mission was, okay, we've got all of these pubs. They own all these pubs. So their landlords are ordering from their B2B portal, right? And some are coming in at different angles. For example, some of their pubs are managed, and the managers are logging in to make an order, but there's no pricing. Some of them are lease and tenant, where the pricing is shown. So it becomes quite complex, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on. But I'm here to talk about some of the key stages of that project. I was there from the start to the end, and yeah, we're going to cover these 5 main parts of the project. Okay, so let's start with some project stats. Right, the project overall, 21 months. What I'll do is to keep the flow going on the slides. I'm not going to read out all the words on the slide. I'll let you read as you go along, and I'll pick out kind of the key bits, because there's quite a few slides to get to. And I know you're probably all getting a little bit hungry at this stage, so we'll try and finish on time. But one of the key elements here as well is is the number of people involved. So on our side, there was 15 people involved in the project from start to finish. And actually on the Punch Pub side, it was a similar number. So there was over 30 people involved in this project. It was quite inclusive across both teams. One go live, what we call a cutover. That was it. It was one. It wasn't a phased. It was all happened in one weekend. Which was quite a fun weekend. And yeah, we went live back in February 2024. Okay, now this project was a triumph for our development team. It was a dev project like no other. A standout one there, there was almost 5,000 development hours alone. Just development hours. Okay, I put 5,000. It was just under 5,000, but I wanted to, spruce up the numbers a bit. But it was very close to that, right? 240,000 lines of custom code. And we'll talk about integration a little bit later on, but there's 29 different elements of data coming in and out. Okay, if we look at it from what I like to call it the architecture cake, right? So we've got Magento Core, we've got Magento Open Source, we've got Adobe Commerce B2B Suite, and then sitting on top, we've got that custom functionality just for Punch Pubs alone. Now, it looks nice there, but the reality, it was like that, okay? It was so complex, there was so much custom functionality. As I said, there was nearly 80 modules. It was a bit like that. And our design, it was actually much wider than that, but our designer went, come on, Tadhg, there's a limit to the width of that top layer. So just give you an idea of the size of this project. Okay, so, and oh yeah, finally, there is actually supposed to be an image there. It's award-winning. I can see it here, but it's, oh, there it is. Oh, sorry, it just popped up. Yeah, we're very, very happy to announce that, yeah, we picked up B2B, UK B2B Site of the Year in October, last October, which was a true testament to the success of the project. Okie dokie. So I recognize a couple of faces from yesterday's workshop. You might see a little repetition here of some of these slides. So I'll quickly go over the discovery stage. But at the beginning of every project, you know, so we talk about pre-sales, we move into discovery, and then we've got the project build. The discovery stage of this project was enormous. You know, the size, the complexity behind the scenes, you know, there was stuff, like, we didn't actually cover everything in discovery. There was so much. You know, we were working off user guides, we were doing continuous workshops, but some stuff we didn't even pick up until during the project build. But I just want to talk a little bit about discovery because it's something I'm very passionate about, and it's a really important part of the project. And this, you know, I'll pause for 15 seconds and let you read this. Now, there's quite a lot in this statement, but it's really important. And obviously, from the SI point of view, we're trying to build up to, you know, what is the scope of the project, but there's lots of other elements. And during the project discovery, you know, we heard our keynote speaker this morning talk all about brand. Well, as an SI going into do that discovery, it was really important for us to understand their brand. But here's an important message. You know, I represent Monsoon Consulting going into that discovery. I'm also a brand. So here we have two brands together. So don't forget that. Like, obviously you're going in to solve the problem, but they're also, you know, seeing you for the first time. So don't forget who you are as well. And I love this statement about your brand is everything that your customers and prospective customers think, feel, say, hear, read, watch, imagine, suspect, and even hope about your product, service, or organization. And thanks to a guy called Simon Middleton for that quote. And I think it's so true. And if you have that in mind, and you know, when you then go into discovery, and these are some of the typical workshops that you do, you know, it's not a question of the SI and the client. It's collaborative. It's a collective team effort. And as soon as you kind of, oh, we're all one here trying to deliver this quite complex solution, you know, you will reap the rewards. But yeah, so these are some of the typical sessions. We kind of follow that flow, and then, you know, the last three, design is always near the end because, you know, we've now got a good idea of scope. Design come in, maybe potentially do some mock-ups. It's when you start doing the design stage, you start seeing it coming together, especially for, you know, maybe senior management or board level. When they start visualizing the new solution, they start coming on board because there was an incredibly complex part of the technical side of things, which we'll come to. So typical discovery team. So, you know, I sit under the kind of solution specialist, but as I mentioned, it was 15 of us. So, you know, at one point we had 5 back-end developers working on this project. So there was a lot of coordination needed from our project management and the management team on their side. So finally, some tips and tricks When you're going through this kind of discovery stage, you know, expect the unexpected, hey? But collectively, you know, we talk about AI, you know, it's everywhere, isn't it? Well, this slide is not about AI, it's about EI. It's about emotional intelligence. And if there's one thing you do, go to Google Images and search for the 4 pillars of emotional intelligence, right? Because I think if we all follow those 4 pillars, actually the world could be a better place. And I like to think in Magento orange. I've changed the color today, Nicole. You know, really important when you're doing that discovery stage, no bullshit, yeah? You know, it's just be open, honest. If you don't know, hold up your hand and yeah, well, you'll get to it. You'll figure it out. Here are some example discovery outputs from this. So obviously this kind of project, you know, a lot of these documents feed into what we call the statement of work. And you know, the prioritized product backlog is important there. And it's important to have the word prioritized because you're building up for that MVP phase 1. You know, you could be talking about the future, phase 2, 3, 4, but it's important to, you know, there's a line to be drawn. So yeah, okay, so really what I want to talk about is some of the features that came out of this build. This is what, you know, this is what I want to show you today is some of the really nice features that came out of this, the B2B solution itself. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is select the date. So in B2B, so if we step back a bit, so Punch Pubs is in the food, what we call the food and drink sector. Okay, so in the food and drink sector, you know, you can imagine that I am the owner of a pub, and I need my, you know, delivery, depending on when my scheduled delivery is, and there's different options here, right? But I'll want it on a specific date, and that's quite common in this sector where, you know, you're not actually allowed to start the order until you select your date. And in this case, well, actually it got a lot more complex for Punch Pubs because they don't actually stock any products. They use distribution companies around the UK. So if I'm a publican in Cornwall, I'm ordering from a distribution company in that area, and what's even more complex is I'm ordering from a specific depot, and there might only be a specific set of products available to me in that depot. So that was one of the crazy scenarios that we encountered, was that me as a user logging in, I will only see the products that I can possibly see. So every single customer has their own subset of products. So this is the date. So you can see here we've got the standard free, you've got unscheduled, and then you can collect at a depot. Okay, so here's another lovely feature that we have, and we've actually taken this since, and we've tried to extend it further. So in Adobe Commerce, in Adobe Commerce you have what's called requisition lists. And then in my account you've got my orders, so my recent orders. So what your usual is it's kind of like it's like a nice kind of happy mix of the two. So it's configurable in the admin panel, and basically it's a better word for it is called recent purchases. So over the last 8 weeks, we show all the products that I as a company have ordered. Okay, and in this case, it's sorted by in alphabetical order. Now, there's a few other bits and bobs going on this screen, and I'll explain them. First of all, at the top, so in the pub trade, you've got what's called allergen information. So you know that, you know, and you have to display this in your bar or pub somewhere that's visible to all the public. So it's a nice area to do it. Well, these are all the products that I recently purchased. So I can now print off all the allergen information. So that's pretty cool. Also, the sort, you can do different types of sort. You can sort by most recently ordered, or kind of most recently ordered is, well, I could have just done a one-off order. Or you can sort by what I order most regularly, which is probably a more popular choice of sort. The cart is always visible on the right-hand side, and you'll see here there's some text here. I think I can use this around this offer available. Okay, so the next feature I want to talk about is how they actually build offers. Okay, so out of the box you've got cart price rules. We've extended that or enhanced it to become this kind of offers engine. So what's quite common in the drinks industry or the drinks suppliers is that they run promotions like, buy one case, get another case free, right? But we wanted to, well, how do we solve that in a clever way so that you can decide if you want to claim the offer or not? It's not always like a free case. It could be a point of sale kit that maybe you're not that interested in. But you can see a couple of things going on here. You've got, oh, sorry, let's go back. So you've got, first of all, you've got the offers category, right? As soon as you set up a new cart price rule and it's an active offer, it will automatically appear in the offers category. You don't have to go and, oh, where's the product? Oh, what was the product again? Oh yeah, make sure you push it into the category. It automatically appears there, right? The punch pubs have two types of offers. So you've got save, which is money off, and then you've got the offer. So this is the cart price rule kicking in. You've got a clickable area here to find out more information about the offer. So it brings you to a unique offers page where you can find out more information about it, what you have to add to the cart, stuff like that. You can see here we've got how many we've already got in our cart, right? And then, so in this case, we needed buy one, get one free. We have one and we've qualified. So what happens? What would normally happen? Well, what would normally happen is when you've qualified for the offer, we get the slide out, and you pick, well, what the offer, what do you want to claim? Like it could be a selection of stuff, or it could be just one of many, right? And it's a nice way of doing it. And you don't actually have to take the offer. You qualified for it. And here's another thing. So if it was buy 3 cases, get 1 free, and you put 2 in your basket, it would say missed. So that's the wording they used. But it was like going, oh, I nearly had it. But it's visual all the time. So it's a really cool way of doing offers. And no matter where you are on the site, you've got that offer kind of label and promotion visible. Another feature they have is called saved carts. So you can see here on the cart, it's kind of slightly grayed out, but you can save a basket for later, right? So you can think about the kind of the pub trade. So I've got a special event coming up, and I want to kind of start building my cart. But, okay, do I need a new favorites list? Actually, you know what? I'll build a cart and I'll just store it away for a bit. I want to see what kind of cost that's coming in at. And you can store it away. And you can come back to it. So you can recall it. Now, we really like this feature because it could come into play for things like automatic reordering. So you take a bar, every bar, there's trends in every bar. They've got their regular order coming in on a weekly basis. What if you could automatically create a saved cart for them going, well, based on your trends in recent times, well, we've built a cart for you. You just need to click send. But this is how they use it. Excellent. Now, another feature they have is what we call, they call it injected products. We're kind of going, injected product? We like to call it targeted product recommendations. Fancy. But essentially, we have, what's going on here is we have this product. And by the way, you're probably thinking, what does low mean? We were confused about low, as in, is it low stock? Or is it, am I reaching an all-time low to buy this? No. It means low price. Wow, you'd never have guessed, would you? Anyway, but the important thing is they're not 100% in control of their own product base because they don't stock it. But the drink suppliers like to promote other products, around. So you could say, this is an existing product, and they've just launched these 3 new flavors of the drink. So no matter where this product appears on the site, these 3 will appear underneath it. That's quite a nice way of doing it. All their products are listed in list mode. They don't use grid mode at all. Because grid mode gets a little bit trickier, but in list mode, they fit in quite nicely there. So it's a really good way of doing it. You could probably join them together a little bit better, but that's the styling they wanted to do. Just another thing, very common in B2B. So every customer that logs in here has their own price book. So all prices are different for every single company account that logs in. So another quite a complex task. Right, another one here is, again, this is quite specific to drinks. Sometimes, if you think back, I told you about the distribution network and the depots. Sometimes products become unavailable. So they've got this product feed coming in all the time about products in certain areas that are either being replaced or unavailable or temporarily out of stock. So set against each product, you can say, well, there's a reason and there's, a description for that reason. And then we want to, okay, so imagine they're in their favorites list and they're going, oh my God, or your usual list. Oh, it's temporarily out of stock. Oh, but thankfully there's another product available. So it's a nice, neat way. Again, it's a neat way of just, targeting the product that's in trouble with another product. Okay, so another thing that they invested a lot of time in was the checkout. Now, I explained a little bit about the business model, and it's quite complex how they operate and the different types of customer. But a lease and tenant customer, it's quite a busy checkout where there's a lot of other fees that come into play because you're renting a pub, you're leasing a pub. So when it comes to the checkout, they actually give their customers the option, well, actually, there's a lot of extra fees coming in today you need to pay. Are you able to pay them? Okay, so they give them, this happens on the checkout. Yeah, we know Magento checkout. It's so easy to develop with, isn't it? Yeah, we all know that. Anyway, we managed to get this in, so you're unable to pay. How much do you want to pay today? But what's really interesting is they've invested heavily in open banking. So they, transaction-wise, it's not massive number of transactions, but the average order value is quite high. Now, we know card payments, and in the UK, for example, there's a lot of corporate cards, and the percentage fee on those cards can be quite high. So they've invested a lot of time in open banking, and we wrote an integration from scratch, and it defaults to open banking, and it's incredible, the uptake. And they give them little incentives along with the, to move to that. So in actual fact, they're saving a lot on transaction, card transactions, fees, just by defaulting pay by bank first. And here's another thing in my account. So you saw, like, if you're not able to pay, well, actually, your account is open. You can actually go into my account and just do an ad hoc payment. Here's your account, here's your outstanding balance. Would you like to pay? How much would you like to pay today? So they're trying to bring more and more online, you know, what we talk about self-service, right? Yes, they have a great customer services team, but you can actually manage your whole account online. Okay, another feature, if you're familiar with Adobe Commerce, Adobe Commerce out of the box, customers have this ability to set up their own roles and permissions for their own users. Well, that's a bit of a headache. It can lead to a lot of calls to customer services. So what we did was, well, we moved roles and permissions into the admin panel. And so this is our admin panel. So you set it all up there. So every single customer is going to have this. So when you set up a new user for your company, so let's say it's a big restaurant or a big bar, and there's a couple of users, 2 or 3 users. Yep, they'll use this section. And the role they pick is the role that PunchPubs defined in the admin panel. Okay, another really interesting feature that they have is called super user. So now in PunchPub's case, this is for technical support, right? Again, in the admin panel, you've got a feature called login as customer. But in this instance, you're logging in as an actual user, and then you can select any outlet. An outlet is a pub, right? So it's slightly different to login as customer in that I'm actually a customer logging in, but I'm actually going in to examine an account. Now they use it purely because every customer has a different price book, every customer has a different set of products. They get calls occasionally going, oh, I'm not seeing a product. So they can log in as that customer, as their own user, to see what's going on. Now there's a lot of benefits to this, and you know, in other companies, this could be used for sales reps, for example, if they want to come in and place an order on behalf of the customer, or create a quote. Right, moving on. Probably one of the most complex features that we built was order management system, but we built it on a storefront. So we know the admin panel has a sales order kind of section where you can create orders through the admin panel, but it's a little bit clunky, and it's not integrated. You know, everything happens on the storefront. Okay, so they've got a customer services team. What they did in Discovery was they sent us recordings of the phone calls that they were having with their customers. It was insane. There was orders in less than a minute. You know, going through your usual, you know, doing promotions, all inside a minute. So we had to produce the website, you know, the order management system on a storefront for speed. It was all around speed and performance. So here we go. I am a customer services user. I log in, and the first thing I do is I'm going to see this screen where I can search any of the pubs in the system. Okay, so I'm taking a call, and blogs and company is on the phone, and I can select them, or I can search for them at the top. So you search for them, and well, the Richmond Arms has phoned in, and I'm talking to them, and now we've got all the information to do with the pub. There's lots of stuff going on here. You can suspend accounts, you can take payment, you can do a product search for them. There was lots more down here. I just couldn't get it all in. Depending on the notes, there was individual notes for that particular outlet. So you can imagine they're talking about, oh, you've got a pub quiz coming up on Thursday night. Hey, did you know we have a promotion? All this stuff goes on, and then ultimately they want to place an order, and we've got what type of order you want to place. And then you want to continue, place an order. And now we're into it's effectively just a slightly different view of the website. But something really interesting here is that we now show, so remember, I'm still customer services, and I can see all of the previous order quantities that has been ordered for that product. So obviously, your usual is now over here. It'll default to going to your usual, and you can, you've got a lot more information happening on the screen. Yeah, that's it. And order history is quite visible there if they want to talk about previous orders. Okie dokie. Right, I'm going to wrap it up now pretty quickly, but I just want to mention ERP integration. Okay, so, it was a complex build, we know that. I've said complex too many times today, but it was. Now, here's the key thing about ERP integration in this instance, right? A lot of ERPs, let's say it was a SAP ERP integration, you could have live pricing, you could have live stock. No, none of that. What we decided to do was there was a middleware solution built, and the data is coming in the background. So there's data coming in and out in the background. So everything is stored in Magento for performance. Because it needs to be lightning quick. You could imagine that order management system. We can't have spinning wheels. It's got to be instant. So there was a lot of, Ivan is not in the room today, but there was a lot of indexing tweaks, let's just say, to make it all work. But ERP, yeah, it was complex. The UAT go live of this was, yeah, it needed a lot of planning. And this is where team collaboration comes into play, where we effectively became one team, both companies. We had one cutover. That spreadsheet was enormous, but we built ours first and they built theirs and then we combined it. But something else that happened in the project that I hadn't done before is that we batch tested. There were so many features to be tested. You couldn't wait till UAT. So we QA'd in batches, and then we handed over to PunchPub's team. So that when it came to UAT, we actually had all the features tested first. It was the first time we tried that, and there was a lot of work went into it. All projects, have their ups and downs. So, this is a really important slide, is that, after the project went live, we had a retrospective. So we sat down all together and we said, look, what were the highs and lows of this project? And yes, a couple of things that I'll pick out here is, automated testing probably should have been in there from the start. And there's a tool called Ghost Inspector that will achieve that for you. So it'll continually test the site. So we all agreed that should have been there from the start. And the other one is an interesting one, is the site monitoring. And I'm going to finish up with this slide, because the important thing about site monitoring is you can have all the monitoring you want, but it's the alerting is the actual important bit, right? So you can be monitoring away, but if you're not alerting the right people, or you're alerting too much, you just get used to it. It's the severity of the alert and when and who it goes to. So we agreed, I talked about the ERP integration. So we had so many crons running, but what if the cron went wrong, right? So we actually had a special cron to monitor the cron, which was really important. So that the alert went out, there's issues, pricing's not coming in because the cron's in trouble. So we had what was current and what the enhancements were going to be. Obviously, Ghost Inspector is in there. So yeah, they're the main elements of the build. I always like to show what the business as usual, the support process, how does it work, and this is not rocket science, but yeah, we kind of quickly, after what we call hypercare, after go live, we went into what's called business as usual. And yeah, that's how support tickets are processed. So, how are we doing for time? Is everyone hungry? It's 1:10. Oh my goodness, I've overrun. I could do a bonus slide, but should we just go to the bar? You know, you've just had to see a lot of alcoholic drinks. So, you know, you're probably starving now and you're dying for a drink. So let's wrap it up there. If you'd like to see the bonus slides, come find me. They're amazing. Okay. All right. I can almost hear my own echo in this place now. It's amazing. Thank you very much.
Do you have any questions, guys? Anyone? No? Okay, then let's go to the bar, as Tadhg suggested.
Let's go.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.